one of my favorite experiences was watching somebody that I had taught be baptized and then confirmed and then pass the sacrament. He was awesome, and he just had such a desire to learn and to grow and to progress. And I just remember sitting in that sacrament meeting as he passed me the sacrament and just feeling overwhelmed that I had made such a difference in this one little person's life, and that now he was making a difference in mine by being worthy to hold the priesthood and help me to renew my covenants with our Heavenly Father. So there's this family that I dearly love. They're the Arcega family, and I met them in my third area in Yakima. I was in Yakima at the time, and we covered this little outside city called Tiatin. And we couldn't get out to it very often because we shared a car with some other sisters, and the days that we did have the car, we were doing service or planning, or it was Sunday, so we had to go to church. So we didn't really get out to that part of our area very often. But some other English missionaries were working in the area, and they didn't speak Spanish, and they knocked on this door one day, and the guy gave them their phone number and their address and asked them to send some Spanish missionaries over. So we took a member with us, and she drove us out to Tiatin to meet this family and contact all the other Spanish people that the English elders had given us. And after we had contacted the other 9 Spanish people that were really Catholic and really not interested and asked us to not come back again, we finally knocked on this door at like 7:45 at night, and our hopes weren't too bright, but we met their son Armando first, and he was kind of smoking with his friends in the front yard, and he introduced us to his father, who let us in, and we had an awesome lesson. We taught him and his wife the restoration, and they accepted it, and they told us straight up that what they wanted was to help know how to raise their son, their youngest son, Armando, the one that was smoking, because they had just moved from Los Angeles, and he had been involved in gangs and drugs and not such good stuff, and they wanted to help him change. And so we promised him that the gospel would be able to help them with that. And if they did the little things like reading or praying or coming to church, that he would change, that he would follow their example. And so we left them with a little Book of Mormon and a restoration pamphlet, and we left and we came back and we taught them the plan of salvation, and we left and we came back and we taught them the gospel. And at this point they had been reading in the Book of Mormon and praying as a family, and really trying to be better examples for their son. And about a month later, they told us that they were moving to Vancouver, which is not in the Yakima mission, and we were kind of devastated because they were super golden. But we noticed that Armando hadn't been at the lessons, and we asked what had happened to him, and they told us that he had moved to Vancouver to be with his brother, that he had enrolled in school, had found a job, had gotten away from the friend group that was the drug, smoking, gangish type, and he had taken the little Book of Mormon that we had given them, and he was reading it every night. And they saw how he had changed because they had changed, and how he was able to follow their example. And after they had found their apartment in Vancouver, they came back and they made us tamales and atole, which is really good. And it was a real blessing for us because it means that they like us. If they feed you tamales, you know that they like you. So they told us about the experience that they had when they were finding a new apartment. And they said that they looked across the street from the apartment that they had found, and they saw this big white building with a gold statue facing east. It said the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints on it. And they looked at each other and they were just like, that's the church the sisters are from. And we were just like, yeah, that's the Vancouver temple. They're just like, oh, well, we have no excuse not to go to church anymore. Guess what, honey? We're going every week. So it's just really cool to see how they were able to change and how that influenced their family. And I don't know what happened to them because they changed their number and their address and everything. But I'm sure they're baptized members now. We'll go to the temple in like a year or so. So I spent my last 6 months in one area in East Wenatchee. And there was a former that I wanted to try, like the first day I got there. And so we tried her, and nothing happened. So we kept trying her off and on for a couple months. Nothing happened. So we decided to give her a break. And about 2 weeks before I left to come home, we were in the area, and I was like, I don't know what we should do, Sister Harston. What should we do? And she's like, let's knock this one apartment. Like, there's this former there that I want to try by. And I'm like, that's the former I've wanted to see since I got here. And so we went and we knocked on the door, and she answered. And she said, I'm really busy right now, but can you come back tomorrow at 3:30? And we're like, yes, we'll come back tomorrow at 3:30. So we came back tomorrow at 3:30, and she had made us food and was like, here, have this food, teach me. And so we started teaching her again. And she's really awesome. Her name's Yvonne. And she has such a desire to learn. And her husband, Libne, also has a desire to learn. So we came back the next day and taught them both together. And they were just so excited to learn about the gospel. And then the next week, we kept teaching them, and then it was Sunday, and so we invited them to church because it was my last Sunday in the mission field, and I was probably never going to see them again. So we called them and texted them, and the first hour of church passed, and the second hour of church passed, and then the third hour was sacrament meeting for us. And I played the organ for our ward, and my companion directed the music. And so we were up on the stand playing the sacrament hymn, and we see Yvonne walk in. And she stayed for the sacrament, and then afterwards she told us that she had gotten into a fight with Libne and things weren't good, and she couldn't drive because she has brain cancer. And so she hopped in the shower, and she knew that church was the place where she needed to be, so she got dressed and she walked to church, and which was why she was so late. But she walked to church, and she told us afterwards that there was no doubt she would be baptized, and that everything was just, even though she knew it was going to be hard, she was totally willing to do it, that it was the place where she needed to be. And she's my inspiration.